Hello and welcome, wonderful ladies. If you're new here, my name's Jax, and this is where I've been sharing my journey through infertility, IVF, adoption, parenting, and now pregnancy, all the while trying to share some of my plethora of research with you so that you can be more confident in decisions that you're making in your own journey. This week is my 17 and 18 week update where I am sharing a lackluster OB appointment, the return of throwing up, and feeling beta baby kick. As always, let's kick it off with the baby update. They are about the size of a sugar glider. Remember when they used to sell those at malls and stuff as pets? Which puts them at around 5 to 6 ounces and 5.5 to 6 inches long from crown to rump. This week, their fingerprints are developing. They're on the grid. It's just funny because I'm very much on the grid because between work where I needed like government clearance and adoption and my TSA pre-check, like everybody has my fingerprints. I'm the most on the grid you can be. But now Beta Baby has their fingerprints too. Next up, the mommy update. Let's talk weight. When we last talked, I was at 147.9 pounds. That was right at the beginning of week 17. And now at the end of week 18, I'm 149.5. So that's about 1.5 pound increase, which is, yay, the best we've done, I think. And I'll throw this little update in now, and I'll talk about the rest of that OB appointment later. But my OB kind of agreed that it's unlikely I'm going to meet the 25-pound weight goal. She was like, yeah, someone like you should gain 25 to 35. I think I've talked before. I was like right on the cusp of being a little overweight for my height, so I always go with the like bottom of that. And now, especially, we're looking at trying to gain, almost a pound a week, over a pound a week, which wouldn't, I don't think, really be super healthy, but whatever. She was like, yeah, I don't know. You're probably not going to make it. And I was just like, but then can we talk about realistic goals? But I'll talk more about that OB appointment. I was very disappointed with this other OB that I saw. But with that, my waist is measuring around 30.5 inches. So I think that's a little bit up or about the same as last week. So on to symptoms. Even though my stomach isn't measuring very much larger, I can definitely feel it shifting and changing and starting to like expand out in other directions because those ligaments along the bottom of the bump are starting to get sore and have pangs of pain as they stretch out. And I'm starting to like hold it like to try to make it not hurt as much and with varying levels of success. But that's kind of exciting pain to experience because that means things are growing. With the growing bump comes the huffing and the puffing. I'm definitely noticing going up a flight of stairs is getting me a little more winded than normal, and rolling over in bed now involves, some arm strength and maybe some noises that I wasn't making before. So definitely that's another indicator that clearly things are shifting where they are, even if my weight isn't going up very much. There's definitely a change in my body composition. All right. Can you help me? Can you help me really quick? There we go. Do you see yourself? Hey, so it's literally 30 minutes after I filmed this, and I realized I totally forgot the most exciting update of the last 2 weeks, and that is that I can feel Beta Baby sometimes. I can feel them kicking, which is really exciting. In week 17, I was like, I don't know if that is gas or if that is baby kicks. And then by week 18, I definitely can tell the difference. And it's mostly when I'm laying down at night and I can really concentrate on it. I don't think I've really felt them during the day much, but yeah, at night I can definitely, at night I can definitely feel them and know it's them, which is really, really interesting. And I thought you wouldn't mind seeing baby Evangeline. Can you say hi? Alright, back to the main update. Whoosh.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's talk over that OB appointment. I know I had promised over on my Instagram to give an update, but I was so pissed that day. I didn't want to get on the internet and vent, and then by the time I'd cooled myself down, it wasn't relevant anymore. So I do apologize. I know I promised that and didn't deliver, so sorry. But I'll give you the update of that now. I was really disappointed with this OB. First of all, she asked about a test, some rando spinal deformation test. And she's like, yeah, the nurse didn't say whether or not you wanted it. I was like, no, I'm not very educated on that, so I didn't know. And she's like, well, then do you want it or not? And I was like, that was a clear indicator that you could take this opportunity to educate me on that test. Instead, I was just like, yeah, I guess. Because it was just a blood draw. It wasn't anything invasive. But I was like, that was the first indicator. This appointment might not go well. She listened to the heart rate for like 2 seconds, didn't even tell me what it was, which is like, it's good. Stop that. Was like on her way out the door when she's like, do you have any questions? And I'm like pulling out my list of questions. I'm like, yeah, I have questions. Sit down. I felt like I needed to tell her to just like, can you look at me for 2 seconds and like answer my questions? Anyway, bring it back down. Talked to her about my weight and was like, hey, I'm not gaining enough weight. And she's like, it looks, you've gained blah blah pounds. I was like, no, I haven't. I had lost a bunch of weight by the time I saw you guys. Like, this is just like old weight I'm trying to regain. And she looked really miffed that I corrected her on like the status of my weight gain, which rubbed me the wrong way. And then I was like, so I would like to know like what you think I should gain for the rest of the pregnancy. And she's like, well, normally, and she quoted the generic 25 to 35 pounds, which I'm like, you spent no time about that. I'm like, I don't think I can gain that. And she's like, yeah, you probably won't. I was like, oh, how many ways do I need to ask you to like make an individual plan for me and give me some realistic expectations? Cool. I also talked to her about how I was still feeling nauseous. It was getting worse. She gave me this new med, which is one you take right before you're gonna eat. And it's helped-ish. To keep it short and sweet, my body got me for Christmas throwing up. So that was new, starting Christmas Day and after. I have to say it seems to be short-lived, pretty contained within a few days, but it was also like, what the hell? WTF, mate? Like, just, what are we doing here in week 18, throwing up? So, new plan, everyone, new plan. I'm just going to throw normal expectations out the window, and I'm going to assume I'm one of those women that is going to be nauseous for the entirety of their pregnancy. And then if it ever goes away, I'll be pleasantly surprised. So that's the new mentality going forward, that this is just a forever thing until giving birth. So I did a video last week of questions to ask your doula because I did my doula interviews and I picked one. But all of the doulas raised concerns about this one hospital. And so I brought those concerns. I wasn't accusatory. I wasn't aggressive. I was like, I just want your opinion, because listening to one side is never gonna get you all the information. So I was like, hey, these are the concerns that these doulas laid out. They talked about, it being too busy, people being rushed through labor, nurses being aggressive towards doulas. Like, I was basically looking for her to refute it and be like, no, don't be ridiculous. Instead, she got hella defensive, just aggressively defensive, considering the tone I came in with. And then was like, well, I'll paraphrase, but she's like, it's a busy hospital. It's a busy hospital, so yeah, you don't want people giving birth out in the hallway. I was like, whoa. You just confirmed what they all had said, that you are going to get rushed through because they are running at over capacity, and screw you and your birth plan. So we're reevaluating that. In the month of January, we're going to be making some more choices, looking at some more options. We do have options, which I'm very thankful for, because that is certainly a privilege, but it was just weird. I'm also having an appointment after our 20-week scan with my OB, who I adore, and I'm going to ask her too, because I clearly didn't get the answers I was looking for. The only good thing that did come out of that appointment is she was like, yeah, go ahead and sleep on your back if you want. I was like, cool, thanks. The rest of your information was kind of bad, though, so I don't know if to trust you. But the research does suggest that we've overblown the, not sleeping on your back thing, especially early on. So until it becomes very uncomfortable for me or I start having symptoms from laying on my back, I'm sleeping on my back because I'm already waking up once to go to the bathroom and be nauseous. So I need a good night's sleep. Cool. that was that appointment. Sorry, that was a long little stretch of an update. A long little stretch. Fun. Oh, okay. These are just a few updates. One, you probably noticed this is a different kind of. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you have. This is a bit of a different view. I'm using a different camera because behind you is my studio, which is like a mess right now because I got new things for Christmas for my studio, but that means it's like in disarray right now. And I will get to fixing that. By the end of it, you guys probably won't notice anything different. It'll just be the behind the scenes. Essentially, I'm making this my editing space too, because right now it's downstairs with the husband and the kid and just the mess of downstairs. So I'm trying to shift and consolidate all my YouTube stuff to this room. So sorry for this quality for a while. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Next, this was a double week update. Next week will also be a double week update, even though I will just be into week 20. Two reasons for that. One, we got to get ahead a little bit because the name reveal game is going to take up 2 Mondays, so we gotta get ahead on that. And then secondly, on the day I turn 20 weeks is my anatomy scan, and I figure you all want to get to that, so I'm not going to make you wait an extra like 3 weeks to get to the whole anatomy scan news. I figure I'll just do a kind of a 1.5 week update and we'll call it good and you'll all be okay with that. So yeah, that's channel updates. Get those out of the way. Back to normal updates. And the last, this wasn't a really symptom thing. It was just the last little update with me. I went through, I was feeling so cruddy and couldn't move. I went through and cleaned up my Pinterest and specifically my pregnancy board. And it was just the weirdest thing to start down at the bottom when I had started that board way back in 2017, when we had started trying and didn't even really have a proper infertility diagnosis. We just had it might take a little longer, it might be fine, you don't even know. In my mind, we were buying this house and I was like, oh, I hope I'm not going to be too pregnant when we buy the house to move boxes. Anyway, and to just see the pin progression of these very, not naive, but hopeful posts of registries and nameless and just all these things, and then see it slowly morph into fertility treatments and hardship and miscarriage and, IVF announcements, and then adoption, we're adopting announcements, and then now to have it slowly go back to pregnancy things, but be a lot around birth. It was so trippy to find an archive of our journey in that way. Maybe that's not interesting to you, but I just found it really, I don't know, kind of sentimental and eye-opening. Sometimes you lose track of where you started and the hope that was there. And now I think most infertility warriors are just so ready for the fight that we forget that some people get to go through all that joy and just have the joy of it. And anyway, it's neither here nor there. I just thought it was interesting. On to the husband update. This week, he wanted me to convey to all of you lovely ladies that he is responsible for the name choice. All of it. First, middle, last. He's on top of it. And I was like, so what's your point? He's like, so, it's good. So, the husband did suggest both names. I will give him credit. And then, of course, it's his last name. So, I guess technically, Beta Baby's full name gets full credit to the husband. And that is what he wanted me to share with you all. So if during the name reveal in 2 weeks you don't like the name, you can direct all of those comments to the husband. You're going to have a tough time finding him as he has zero social media. But but good luck. So you can just not comment to me. Don't comment to me. You go find him. Go find him, okay? Okay, I hope this hasn't gotten too long this week, and I hope you guys are all excited for next week and the anatomy scan. I know I am very anxious to get it over with, but excited as well. And until next week, ladies, keep on fighting.